The what? Because I don't have footage. Does it?
That's what they said when I brought your copy. I forgot.
He gave you the word. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is William Pace, I'm the Randolph Police Chief. I am pleased to report that the Randolph Police Department is fully operational and we stand ready to assist you as usual. I'm also pleased to report that the dedicated members of your police department are all in good health. All in all, we had a very quiet weekend. However, I have added extra patrols to each shift to assist in our community caretaking function as needed. I'm asking that you utilize the 911 system for true emergencies only. All other inquiries should be at 781-963-1212. If you are calling in a medical emergency regarding flu-like symptoms, you'll be asked a series of questions recommended by the Centers for Disease Control. This action is necessary to protect our first responders as they answer your call for help. If you have a non-emergency report that you need to make to the police, for example, identity theft or lost license plate, anything that you think may require a police report but is not an emergency, please call 781-963-1212. Many times we can take that report over the phone. The police station lobby is open. However, the non-public areas of the station is closed to visitors at this time. I find it necessary to take this action to limit access to the members of our police department so they can continue to serve you. Finally, I ask the members of our community to go out of their way to be kind to each other. Please practice courtesy during this difficult time, whether you're in a grocery store or driving. Now is the time that kindness and courtesy are needed most. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. There's no question that during this time frame, we are only a few days into this, and we know that we're looking at a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks from what we're hearing from our partners at the federal and state level. So it's going to be critical that the residents and the businesses continue to work with us. Things can get frustrating as this goes longer, no doubt about it. My name is Brian Howard. I am the town manager here in the town of Randolph. We are updating you again. We did an event on Facebook Live on Friday. There have been a number of changes since then, and we thought it was important to engage the public. First off, as you know, the governor of Massachusetts has declared a state of emergency in Massachusetts. After consultation with the town's emergency management team, which you see here today, I have decided to declare a state of local emergency in the town of Randolph. This declaration is in response to the COVID-19 outbreak in Massachusetts. This declaration is pursuant to the town charter, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the applicable Massachusetts general laws, invoking the provisions of Mass General Law 20, Section 19, Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 31. This state of emergency will continue from week to week and will be regularly reevaluated. It is my belief that this measure will help us preserve the health, safety, and welfare of the people and property of the town of Randolph. A lot of words there. What it means, in particular, is that there are certain statutes that we have to have in process for us to be able to spend and record things differently. So a lot of that is just to allow us the flexibility that we need to do our jobs here during this time frame. Town budgets. I have placed a budget freeze in all town departments. We have to be prepared for what will become a very difficult time financially. We know that our local revenues will be impacted. Clearly, the meals tax, the hotel tax, the closing of the ice rink and the pool, and the rental revenues from those. We know from 10 years ago, we always run the risk of potential 9C cuts from the state, so it's important that we're prepared, and we've taken action within our town budgets to try and do just that. As far as public meetings go, I have canceled the public meeting schedule for buildings under the care and custody of the town manager as of tomorrow, unless statutory deadlines are necessary per state law. As was mentioned previously, what that means is there are some instances, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, the Town Council, where there are deadlines that have to be met, and until we hear from the governor's office that some legislative flexibility has been granted, we always want to make sure we're protecting the residents. And we never want to see what's called a constructive approval occur. So until we get that, we may find ourselves having to have certain meetings. That said, we're also looking at online meeting portals. We've been doing some testing, and we'll go forward with that depending on where things proceed. Town Hall. Town Hall was open today for regular business between 8:30 and 4:30. Beginning tomorrow, I believe we're the last community in Norfolk County to make this decision. It is not a decision that I take lightly, but as of tomorrow, the town hall will be closed to the general public. Now, I want to make it clear that doesn't mean that we're not here at work. It doesn't mean that we're not available. We'll be available by phone. We'll be available by email. And a lot of what residents need at this time frame can be done online. That said, I also know there are certain things you cannot do online. So please call the in particular department you need to deal with, and we will schedule an appointment for you. So if you're filing a marriage intention, you need a municipal lien certificate, a birth or death certificate, you're going to call the town hall, 781-961-0900 or 0901, and we will certainly make sure that any individual need that you have that we cannot do online or by email will be taken care of. And I want to, and I'm going to go over this before we complete this today. I'm going to show you some of the areas on the town website that you should be familiar with. Trash and recycling. As of now, there is no change whatsoever. We don't anticipate any change in this area. I do want to thank Capital Waste for their professionalism during this time frame. They continue to do an excellent job in working with us as our municipal partner. Playgrounds. You've seen this statewide. We are asking and we are closing the Imagination Station Playground. I've consulted with the school superintendent. We are also asking people to not use the school playgrounds. I do think, based on the social distancing of 6 feet, that is still very much possible at Powers Farm and at the Randolph High School track. So those will remain open at this time. I do know that next week, excise tax bills are due in 2 weeks on March 27th. Utility bills, though, some are due on the 25th. You can use the drop box here at the town hall. I will very quickly show you where that is. I know those of us who are here at the town hall know where it is, and we're always sometimes surprised when we say to folks, oh, you haven't seen that? So this here, let's make sure if this is working right. I'm not seeing it pop up, so that's not a good sign. There it is. So this here is the drop box that is located directly in front of the town hall. We've had it there for almost 10 years now. We do encourage residents to use that to pay their bills. In addition, if there are other things you need to have delivered into the town hall, feel free to place it there. So again, this is the drop box that is located in front of the town hall. It is secure. This should be for checks only, money orders, any cash. Please make sure you do call us, and we will do what we have to do to work with you if you're in a situation where you cannot pay by check. That said, I do want to turn it over to our fire chief for an update. Chief Donovan, things went well this weekend.
Yes, pretty regular, Brian, as calls would go. Thank you. Good afternoon. I am Randolph Fire Chief Richard Donovan. Randolph Fire continues to take this very fluid situation extremely seriously. We have closed our buildings to anyone except fire department personnel in order to keep our building envelope as free of contaminants as possible. We continue to inform our public safety employees on updated CDC info as it becomes available in order to keep them as educated and safe as possible during their daily work events. During medical responses related to the flu-like symptoms, our first responders will be utilizing personal protection devices, including N95 masks, eye protection, and protective gowns. Our inspectional services are still operating utilizing all CDC recommendations with regard to social distances, informational interviews, and time limitations. That's all I have, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Chief. I know that the governor's declaration over the weekend did change our plans with the schools, so it went from 2 weeks on Friday to 3 weeks. At this time, I would like to have our school superintendent address the community in regards to that extension, but also decisions that are in place now for food service.
Okay. Good afternoon, Randolph families. As I mentioned in our last update, we petitioned the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education for meals, and we were approved literally about an hour ago. So the process for families is as follows. There are going to be 4 sites. There are 4 schools in Randolph that we have chosen. We feel surround the perimeter of Randolph, hopefully making it easily accessible for families. These schools have been sanitized and are set as pickup locations for both breakfast and lunch. The sites are Randolph High School at the poolside entrance, the Donovan School at the front entrance, the John F. Kennedy at the front entrance, and the Lions School at the front entrance. Families will have the option of driving up, grab and go, or walking up. It is important that parents know that they will receive packed meals. There is 1 daily option for breakfast, 1 daily option for lunch. These meals are available for pickup Monday through Friday between the hours of 11 and 12:30, starting tomorrow, March 17th. We debated on the times, and we thought that what we were finding based on what's happening in the summer programs, when the students were picking up the meals, they were picking up breakfast, they weren't going straight home, and by the time they got home, the lunches were spoiled. So the thought is that if they get there, they're sleeping in, they get in. We also had a lot of families missing meals when the pickup time was too early. We can reassess this if we're finding that the times are a problem, and we will be checking in with families to see about that. To keep families informed on meal offerings, nutritional information, allergy-related concerns, breakfast and lunch menus will be posted on the Randolph Public Schools website, www.randolph.k12.ma.us. Please make sure for families that the student is there to pick up the meal with you. The students can come on their own, and it's not just students, it's children of Randolph, anyone 18 or under. Per DESE guidelines, we cannot give food to adults if there are no children present. If you have any questions related to the meal service, please call the Randolph Food Service Department at 781-961-6236. A few other announcements. If your child has medication at school, please email the building principal to arrange pickup. Virtual learning officially starts on March 23rd. Without getting into the long and short of it, because of our contract, tomorrow is a work day for teachers, and we're doing some virtual learning. They're coming in to pick up their devices. And the other days are declared snow days until Monday, March 23rd. I can tell you your children will have daily assignments to complete. The purpose of these lessons is to continue their learning and to provide review of the content that they have already learned. Your children are not expected to sit in front of a computer all day. They can read a book, write a poem, learn a language, practice typing. There are lots of options that will be made available to you through your teachers, through the Google Classroom, and on our website. So please refer to our website regularly. There is a lot of technology support available. And I can tell you, we logged in today, and we already seeing students at work, and teachers are working feverishly to make the learning engaging and meaningful. Technology devices will also be made available to families that indicated through the survey that they had a need. The IT department will be reaching out to families this week to make arrangements for pickup. For further questions, please email techprob, that's TECH PROB, at randolph.k12.ma.us, or refer to our website for further information. The Family Resource Center will be closed until further notice. However, there are 2 ways that you can register your students. There is a slot on the door you can put your information through, or you can go online on the RPS website under the Families tab. There will be people available at the Family Resource Center. However, at this time, we are keeping doors closed to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Also, parents have the option of holding virtual team meetings for students on individualized ed plans, or they can reschedule when schools open. The liaisons will be reaching out to families to discuss the options. Again, I want to thank you for your patience. We're working hard to service you and your families, and we wish you all the best, and please stay healthy.
Thank you. If you are watching right now on Randolph Community Television, this video will be replayed every hour at the top of the hour as they have our previous video. If you're watching on Facebook Live, once this video is completed, you'll be able to watch it just by going to videos and clicking play. So you'll have an opportunity, if you're tuning in now, to be able to check out the entire video. I would, at this time, like to have an update from Liz LaRossi. Liz is the director of the library, recreation, and community programming. They have been extremely busy throughout this time, and they're continuing to try and figure out creative ways to address some of our residents' needs. Liz.
Hello, all. I'm going to repeat some information stated at last Friday's broadcast in case anyone missed it, but I also have some updates to share. We are working very closely with our public health department to ensure the safety of our residents as well as our hardworking staff. Both the RICC and TFL, the library, are closed to the public, but staff are manning computers for email inquiries and phones to field questions from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. We are also extending our online chat hours on our library website. It's a chat box down at the bottom right, and are available through our Google Business Chat app as well. In regards to the library, a few libraries in the OCLN network have opted to do curbside service for picking up materials. In order to limit exposure to our staff and residents, we will not be offering this service. Please keep your materials at home and return them after we reopen. Most people calling into the library are asking about the due dates on the materials that they have checked out. We are extending all checked out material due dates to April 27th. This is a blanket extension that is network-wide, regardless of what you have checked out and from which library in our network. Our library will not be placing new holds on materials, and transit has been suspended between our library and others for the time being. In regards to online resources, several people have called in asking about our online resources. The best thing that you can do would be to visit our website, www.turnerfreelibrary.org, where you can see the latest factual health information on the unfolding situation, as well as all of our available resources right from the main page. Everything is free with your library card, and if you don't have one, you can get a temporary one under the policy page of our website. You can download movies, music, and books on Hoopla, classic movies and documentaries in many different languages on Canopy, popular ebooks and audiobooks on Libby, and magazines from RB Digital. You can also work on your resume with Job Now, take a free class with CEUs offered on Universal Classroom, or even read the newspaper or do research through our online archives. Our librarians spent the day creating instructional videos on how to utilize these resources, which are now posted to our YouTube channel. We're also working on digital programs and will start rolling out story times this week. To wrap up on the library front, you do not need to call to renew your materials. We have taken care of that. The date is April 27th, as of now. However, please call if you have any questions related to town services or accessing technology, as we may be able to walk you through your questions over the phone, 781-961-0932. In regards to Randolph Community Programs and the Community Center, although the building is closed to the public, we are working hard to ensure senior services and outreach is being managed appropriately. If you, a senior you know, or someone with mobility issues needs assistance, please reach out between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. to 781-961-0930. Our veterans agent will be fielding calls and will meet with veterans on a case-by-case basis and by appointment only. Please reach out to him first at 617-251-7767 if you are a veteran. All current RICC memberships will be extended. We realize that you shouldn't have to pay for a membership while we're closed, and we're extending memberships that are set to expire by the amount of weeks that we are closed in order to be fair. We are also attempting to facilitate some virtual programming and partnering with the library on several initiatives here. Most seniors have canceled their transportation rides in efforts to maintain social distancing protocols. We are still offering senior rides and have trained more staff to operate the senior vans in case of emergency. If you need a ride to the grocery store, pharmacy, a medical appointment, or the bank, please call us, 781-961-0930. The Mass Council on Aging has put out an alert to seniors to be on the lookout for phishing emails attempting to gain your personal information for malicious purposes. Make sure you only click on links when you know the sender and only trust verified health information through our Town Health Department, CDC, Mass Department of Public Health, and the World Health Organization. Tips and information for caregivers of persons with dementia during this time are available 24/7 on the Dementia Friendly Massachusetts Information Hotline, 1-800-272-3900. As Town Manager Howard already mentioned, we've decided to restrict access to playgrounds and smaller areas in outdoor spaces such as the Williams Gazebo and the Pavilion at Powers Farm in order to maintain social distancing protocols. Everyone is still welcome to use the outdoor spaces such as the walking paths and other areas where they will not be in close contact with others, but Imagination Station and the playground at Powers Farm are now closed. The RCP and TFL team want to thank our fellow departments for their incredible support and assistance during this time. It is encouraging to work with such compassionate and resourceful individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. And I do want to highlight, Liz mentioned the teamwork aspect, and today we had RICC employees learning how to drive the senior vans and use the appropriate equipment. When Meals on Wheels ran short on staff, our men and women of the Randolph Police Department helped deliver those Meals on Wheels. So what we're going to be doing here at the town level is continuing to make sure that we partner with our trusted vendors, certainly Meals on Wheels and the Randolph Food Pantry being two vendors that have year in, year out assisted the folks in this community. Before we end, I will have Vice President Egan is here. He'll say a few words on the community, on the food pantry with his involvement there, as we can continue to partner with them in any way that we can. I also want to mention that Stetson Hall, the Great Hall, is not in use during this time. We have reached out to anybody who has rented the facility, and we've made arrangements where we can. The businesses on the first floor will remain open. There's a cleaning plan in place, but these are businesses that use the first floor and the first floor only. However, the Great Hall upstairs is not in use during this time frame. At this time, I would like to have our Director of Public Health, Jerry Cody, address the crowd watching at home. Jerry, at this point, we do not have anybody in Randolph as of today at 4:30. However, we do know that at 5:15 they will do the next update. But if you could give folks, a look at the process and.
Certainly. The Public Health Department is open, we're fully staffed, and we monitor MAVEN. It's the Massachusetts Virtual Epidemiology Network. That's how we would be notified if we would have any confirmed or presumptive cases of COVID-19 here in Randolph. As of 4 p.m., we do not have any confirmed or presumptive cases in Randolph. Statewide, as of 4 p.m., there are 164. And that was 45 confirmed and 119 presumptive. The presumptive are cases that were tested, but they have to be confirmed at the Centers for Disease Control Laboratory, the CDC. So testing, we should see some improvement in testing over the next few days. There are new programs that are being rolled out. But I'd like to speak more about the virus. It's a new virus. It acts like the flu. It's very contagious. That's why you'll see a lot of the things that took place yesterday with Governor Baker and with the restaurants and other social distancing. It's because this is a very contagious disease. So there's no natural immunity to this disease. As humans, we don't have anything, so we have to practice things to protect us, like social distancing, like washing our hands, like covering our cough. And it's very important to stay home if you are sick. This really impacts older adults. It also impacts those that have underlying medical conditions. That would be diabetes, it would be heart disease, lung disease. Those are some examples of folks that would be impacted by this. Now, skilled nursing homes have strict guidance and protocols to follow to protect the residents of those facilities. And that's all set up by the Mass Department of Public Health. On Friday, we sent out notices to all of our facilities like that in town. Now, COVID-19, it spreads easily. It spreads by close contact. It's by touching, it's by handshaking, and it's by a sneeze or a cough. So that's why it's so important to follow those hand washing, cover your cough, and stay home if you're sick protocols. That's our best defense right now. So the respiratory spread, it can go into your nose or to your lungs, and sometimes even your eyes. But it's primarily through your nose and your lungs is how you would be infected. So there is some confusion or some concern about food. Food does not transmit the disease, but there are the restrictions put on the food service establishments for social distancing reasons. So starting on March 17th, which is tomorrow, through April 7th, all food service stores, not only in Randolph but in all of Massachusetts, can only have takeout or food delivery. So there's no dining, there's no sitting in a food establishment, there's no congregating. So we're asking our food establishments to make it inaccessible, make chairs and booths inaccessible. Patrons can go in and place an order. They can pick up an order, but we ask them not to congregate and stay in close contact. You really should be practicing social distancing, sort of how we are today. We're about 6 feet apart or better. That's good social distancing. That's how we're going to really prevent the spread of this disease. Now, I also want to thank some town staff and our Medical Reserve Corps volunteers. They were able to take a memo with some guidance to our food establishments and pass that out to close to 70 of our restaurants in Randolph that are permitted by the Public Health Department that would have a food service. And it gives them explicit instructions and how to proceed until April 7th. So again, we want to prevent infection by washing your hands, using hand sanitizer if you do not have the ability to get to wash your hands that often, cover your cough, and stay home if you're sick. Now, if you do have the symptoms would include fever, shortness of breath, or a cough. Now, we're going into allergy seasons. People, you know your body best. If you are a person who regularly has allergies, we're going into that season. But if you feel as though you have a cough or a fever that's unusual, don't forget it's still flu season. So we just last week alone, we had 15 confirmed cases of seasonal flu. So flu is still out there, but we want to remember what the symptoms are for this. It starts out with fever, shortness of breath, and a cough. If you feel as though you have those symptoms, you should call your doctor, a medical provider, get advice from them. You can also call the Mass Epidemiology line at 617-983-6800. And for general questions, there's a new line since we had our last call on Friday. It's 211, and that's an information line set up by the Mass Department of Public Health. It's called Mass 211, but you simply dial 211, and they'll direct you to a person who may be able to answer some of your questions. There's also mass.gov for more detailed information, and the Centers for Disease Control is the World Wide Web .cdc.gov. And of course, you can always call the town health department here in Randolph. Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Jerry. And I think the key thing that Jerry mentioned is if you do think that you exhibit any of the three signs that are more specific to COVID-19 than the flu is you have to call the emergency room or call your physician, and they will arrange for you to come in for the test. They do not want people walking into either of these two locations. In addition, should you need either the police department or the fire department, it's very important you also let them know that you are exhibiting those signs. So that's very, very important. Do not just walk into your doctor's office or to an emergency room. Contact them first. They have special procedures in place to deal with these situations. And mentioning what the chief talked about earlier, there is no question that once the businesses in town go to a delivery and pickup situation only, especially during 5 to 8 at night, there will be a wait for food. Please consider that fact. I think people have been very good dealing with the lines at Shaw's and America's Food Basket over the past few days, and I think the staff at both of those locations deserve tremendous credit for their work. The same is now going to occur where you're going to have lots of people looking to place orders to either have them delivered and/or picked up. And please work with the local businesses in that regard. You do have a number of businesses in Randolph that are chains, and you have a number of businesses in Randolph that are mom and pop type restaurants. And the mom and pop restaurants, if you're in a situation to frequent them or purchase gift cards during this time frame to help them in what will be a very difficult time, we certainly encourage that. Also, it was noted, I am to some extent monitoring the online feed of questions that were asked, and our RICC staff is handling all senior-related needs. And in some cases, the police department will back them up. But we believe we have enough staff at this point to be able to deal with any of the issues that the seniors have as far as any pickups that are necessary, drop-offs, doctor's appointments, et cetera. So those will be filtered through our Council on Aging and our staff at the RICC. I do want to, I mentioned this on Friday. If you go to the town's website, and we had over 250 residents of the community sign up for HyperReach since Friday. We have thousands of residents who've taken part of HyperReach since we started it. But if you go to the town's website and you look at the top left, you click on that, and it'll take you directly to HyperReach. You fill out the information, and that will allow us to contact you in an emergency. We will be doing a HyperReach call about the town hall later today. In addition, under here where you see e-alerts, which is the bottom right, you click on this, and you simply just type in your email address and which update you're looking for, but in particular, make sure you click Town Alerts, and that will make sure that anytime we put anything on town news and request it to be emailed out, that you will get those. We didn't anticipate doing a Facebook Live so quickly since Friday, but so many things changed, so it was important to do so. But if we do, for example, get an update that a Randolph resident has been diagnosed with COVID-19, those will come in, and if you go on the main page under Town News, it says here, COVID-19 update Sunday, March 15th. Later today, there'll be another update, and if there is any change in that area, that's where you will go. So I cannot stress enough to Randolph residents, join HyperReach, join the town's e-alerts. They are two tremendous ways to stay in contact with us. If you are watching right now on Facebook, you should, on the town's Facebook page, click the button that allows you to make it be the first thing that pops up on your screen so that as you go in every morning and you check, you'll get the town's news. So we want everybody in town to stay as up to date as possible. HyperReach, the town news are two critical ways of doing that. I mentioned earlier that we do have a number of partnerships, Meals on Wheels, and we did provide them some services today. We are prepared to work with the Randolph Friendly Food Pantry. Town Council Vice President Ryan Egan. We do have the President and Vice President of both the Town Council and the School Committee present here today. The Vice President is very involved with the food pantry. Can you give us an update on the food pantry, Ryan, and how residents, they normally work just on Mondays. However, my understanding is they're going to make themselves available at any time to assist residents during their time of need.
Sure. Thank you, Brian. So the food pantry normally operates from 12:30 to 2:30 and 6 o'clock to 7:30 on Mondays. And it's usually once every 4-week pickup. Right now, and, there's required paperwork and so on and so forth. Right now, after meeting with the food pantry, my understanding is that they're waiving all required paperwork for current existing clients and new clients. So if you are in need of food, essentially just go down to the food pantry. Unless you are sick, unless you're showing symptoms, go down to the food pantry with a Randolph ID between those times and come get food if you need it, essentially, because we've talked to the director who is working on making sure anybody who in this time loses their job or has fallen on financial hardship has access to the food they need.
Thank you. And I'm going to make sure that the phone number for the Council on Aging, for Meals on Wheels, but also for the food pantry remains on the town's most recent update when you go to the town news. Those are two services that as people are struggling during this time frame, we want to make sure that nobody goes without a meal. I want to make two final comments, and then I will ask the president of the town council to address the community. First off, I cannot thank the emergency management team enough. As I mentioned on Thursday, I will call them or text them at all hours of the day on any issue. This weekend, we were here again for a number of hours this weekend, meeting, going over plans, and making sure that there is continuity of service. And I do want to tip my cap to those employees. In addition, I do want to note the professionalism going on throughout all of the different town departments. Every department is continuing to function. We are continuing to provide services. I want to make it clear that during this time frame, no resident will go out without any service that is necessary. So while we are asking you to do things online, please call us, call the individual department, email the individual department, and if there is a need that you have that cannot be done online, we will schedule and make sure you have an opportunity to take care of that. No resident will go out a important service during this time frame. And I do want to thank all the town employees that have continued to work diligently during this time frame for the community. Before we close, I would like to give the president of the town council an opportunity to address the public. Jim?
Thank you, Brian. The town manager, you should be commended on your leadership during this crisis. You and your staff have been unbelievable as far as making sure the information and correct information is out to the public. So thank you on behalf of the council.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate that. During this time of heightened concerns, health concerns within the nation, it is important that the public understands what their government is doing and that you can rely on us to get you through this pandemic. To that end, your town council will continue to function and do what needs to be done. Working with the town manager and staff, I will call votes as needed and take actions that may be required to move our town forward. The governor has declared remote access to public meetings, and that is now allowed. And until further notice, the public is invited to watch any of our meetings on Facebook Live or cable. The meetings will not be open to the general public. Please direct any comments or concerns or questions that you may have of anything that happens at our council meetings to my attention at my email at burgessrandolph@yahoo.com. Each member of your town council is accessible by town email, and they have been kept well informed by Town Manager Howard and Health Director Cody. I wish to thank all councilors for the level of concern that they have shown and the determination that they have expressed to fight and combat this virus. We wish to acknowledge and thank the dedicated town employees in all areas that have continued to interact with the public and perform the critical functions that are required to address this issue, but also to make sure that we deliver the services that are required every day. We will monitor the evolving situation and will take whatever action that needs to be taken to help keep Randolph safe. I want to again thank our town employees, town manager and his staff, and the emergency management team for the leadership they have shown during this crisis.
Thank you, Council President. So that is our update for today. Please make sure that you join our emergency notification system, receive our emails. If you're watching this on RCTV and you are comfortable with social media, make sure that you like the Town of Randolph Facebook page for the most up-to-date information. And we will always put on the town's main page on the right-hand side under Town News the most up-to-date information, and we'll list it by the date so you know that it is the most up-to-date. We will have all of the information that we talked about today up on the website later on this evening. So if you missed anything, you can rewatch this every hour on the hour on RCTV. You can watch the video again on Facebook, but you'll also be able to gather any of that information right from the town's website. I thank everybody for tuning in. We will update again daily, but another live feed Facebook discussion will occur if there are a significant number of changes that we want to make sure that we get out to the public. Thank you very much for watching.